Hi, everyone. I know everyone's joining right now. My name is John from the Green Program. So excited to have you. We'll start in about a minute. But in the meantime, if you're not familiar with Zoom, just know that right in the middle, there's a chat function. So throughout the presentation today, feel free to click on that and submit any questions on anything you see during the info session. And yeah, at the end, we'll answer all the questions and we'll probably ask you some questions as well. So we're excited to get to know you all. But thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started just with a quick video. So I think the volume's a little bit loud. So feel free to turn your volume down a little bit. And if you want to have your video on, awesome. If you don't want to have your video, that's fine. I just know that in times of coronavirus and quarantine, it's nice to feel like you're person to person. So, all right, here we go, and excited for you all to hear about the Green Program. Cool. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm also going to pull up the rest of the presentation. But for everyone who joined a second late, just remember we have that chat function right there with Zoom, and feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentation. Just really excited to answer all of those at the end. But yeah, after watching that, I'm feeling a little bit of travel FOMO. I'm not sure if other people are feeling the same way. But yeah, basically, hey everyone, welcome to your new classroom. This is the Green Program and a group of students here on our Iceland program. And yeah, Kat and I are really excited. We'll introduce ourselves, we'll talk about the program, we'll go over hopefully all of your questions already answered, but we'll tackle those at the end as well. We're just so excited that you're here. For everyone that has arrived, I know that this means you're interested in sustainability, you care about learning more, maybe you already know a lot and you want to see it in other places around the world, but just like so excited for you on this adventure. And yeah, I'll talk a little bit about my adventure. My name is John Rick. I work here at the Green Program as the Assistant Director for Global Enrollment. You can see the three words there kind of describe my job. I answer all of your questions about programs. I give you all of the resources and do some outreach so people can find out about the incredible things we're doing over here. So how did I get connected to the Green Program? Basically, I was an undergraduate studying biology, and I was on the pre-med track, hoping to be a really cool doctor, very casual. And I ended up studying abroad in Thailand for 4 months. My intention there was to learn about sustainable development, do something that was STEM focused. And I wanted to learn about how sustainability changed depending on what country you were sort of, or community you're raised in, right? So I knew my community in Philadelphia was going to inform my ideas of sustainability very differently than my host parents in Thailand. And you can see once I was in Thailand, I was snuggling with puppies. Up here, I was actually studying the political ecology of forests and how native people were living in national parks and how did that work. It does work. And how do they conserve and work with the environment as well. So you can see a couple ways for you to connect with me here. But I am boring compared to the fabulous Catalina. Can you please introduce yourself and tell everyone more about you?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I see some familiar names on the participants, so thanks for joining us. I am a PhD student at the University of Texas at El Paso. I'm actually, at the end of this semester, it'll be 4 years, me doing the PhD, so that's exciting. Hopefully I finish soon. My master's was in environmental management and sustainability at St. Edward's in Austin. And that's kind of where I transitioned over to more of a sustainability track because of how sustainability was focused so much on our program and project management. So it's kind of like linking that business aspect to sustainability and the main 3 pillars of sustainability. So that's kind of what shifted me into wanting to do more stuff and programs such as the Green Program. Initially, as an undergrad, I was doing geology, but I knew coming out that I didn't want to do oil or any type of like getting resources out and extracting them and like affecting communities. So that's when I knew I needed to switch over to something different, but I didn't know what exactly. So I think my master's was kind of like just a surprise when I got the application, number one, because you have to pay for all your applications for grad school. And this was a free one. And I was like, well, it sounds cool. I might as well apply. And then because of that program, I got to go to France for 7 months, which was also really cool. And that's kind of what got my travel bug more excited about like going all around the world and learning about sustainability through different lenses. So that was really cool. But yeah, if you're not from UTEP, you can email me at that email there or text me, whatever is easier. I'm comfortable with both. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or just like ask me afterwards or whatever is more comfortable for you all. But I'm really excited you're going to learn about the Green Program because it really helped me figure out kind of where I wanted to go in the future. Not what I want to do, but the path I want to go down. So that was really cool. So thank you.
I can't wait to unpack that more. And I have so many questions for you, and I'm sure people on the call do as well. You mentioned the chat, so let's all flex our fingers. And I want everyone to enter into the chat, introduce yourself. Please say your major and what you're studying, as well as, you know, thinking about COVID, travel bug, you're probably feeling it. What is one country that you would want to visit? So Kat, maybe you can type it in there too. Yeah, remember your major, what you're studying, and what country would you like to visit next? I'll give everyone a second to jump in there and answer in the chat. Great. So Kat and I have answered. Still waiting for everyone else. Go ahead and again put your major. I want to know, what are you studying? How? Yeah, I want to be curious on what are probably some things you're really interested in. I'm not going to call out names, but yeah, definitely put in there like what you're studying and the next country that you would like to go to. I'll wait another minute. Thanks, Jess. Excited to meet you. Environmental studies in South Korea. Oh, that would be so cool. I've only gone through the airport there.
If you're there, Jess, maybe we can go at the same time.
Oh yeah, Kat, you wrote Korea as well. That would be fun. Sydney, it's great to meet you. Excited you're a UTEP student as well. Italy or Greece? I have had the pleasure to go to both. And I kid you not, like, just expect to eat as much food as possible. Joseph, great to meet you. Italy, okay, totally. We've got so many people that are excited about that. Valeria, geology, awesome. And you like geochem, awesome. Yeah, Europe would be so cool, especially for all of the different like layouts in every country, a little bit different. Great to meet you too, Nohimi. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Geology and okay, so you don't like the aspect of exhausting Earth's resources. I feel you, but Italy makes sense. No,
And
Oh,
her name's Noemi.
know me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that Kat is here to correct me. Thank you so much. Cool. All right. Well, it's great to meet all of you. Sorry again for that. But yeah, excited to talk about the Green Program. So basically, the Green Program, how did we start? We were founded in 2009. So you'll see Melissa Lee right there, the one with the biggest smile, standing up, the Green Program, arm around Urla, another guide. And Melissa was basically on spring break with her friends in Costa Rica. They were enjoying culture, travel, all of the fun adventure that you would expect. And somehow, I'm not really sure on the details, but they found themselves in front of this wind turbine air, renewable air facility, right? And renewable wind. And when they went there, they kind of somehow made their way past whatever security there was and got to the front door, knocked on it, and just basically was like, hey, is it cool if we get a tour of the facility? And the person who's working there is just looking around like, you serious? You're like these random like tourists from the United States. What? You care? You want to know? And so they were like, all right, sure. And gave them an entire tour of this facility, showed them the technology, gave them inside information about what has been the history in Costa Rica with renewable energy, where is it going, what with technology, and also just like political, environmental factors. So Melissa and her friends fly back to Rutgers, and they're all there, and they're just like, this is incredible. How did we, over that spring break, be able to learn so much about sustainable development, learn about it from an industry point of view? And since then, they started all of these other programs, as you can see there in the list, around the world. So what is the Green Program? You have all these places that you visit, but what is kind of like going on in the back end, and why do we sort of exist? So as you can see here, we have those 5 words at the top: education, travel, adventure, culture, impact. So again, in the chat, when you're thinking about studying abroad, when you're thinking about traveling to other countries, which one of those words do you feel like calls out the most to you? What are you most important to you? Are you most excited by culture, adventure? I guess I'll throw food in there as well. But yeah, any of those foods, just write it down in the chat. I'm kind of curious what people are most excited about. Adventure and impact. Love it. Thanks for joining us, Lindsay. And Martha, I see you is there as well. Education, culture, sweet. Education, awesome. Impact, I love it. Great. So these are all the things that we focus on at the Green Program. And you can see that the other part of our programs is trying to not only have you experience that, but develop these skills, right? These 21st century workforce skills. And some of you might have had opportunities in internships to develop skills. Some of you might be frustrated that like in class, you're just learning and you're like, how am I applying this? And how can I tell someone I'm like passionate about sustainability and show them that I actually have something to offer? So the Green Program is bridging that divide, and our programs are designed so that you can get an experience internationally, actually learning these skills and about sustainable development. So Kat, I'm going to put you on the spot. I've got a question for you. These skills gained and practiced, when looking at these, is there any one of these that sort of jumps out at you when you're thinking about your Green Program and what you sort of practiced?
Yeah, so for me, for sure, it's going to be emotional intelligence. So I think I like this one the best because as a scientist, we're kind of brought up to look at the facts and to have a question and then test that question. And when you're developing these sustainability projects or just trying to be more sustainable as a community, you have to know how to link the people to the problems, and not just that, but understand what the problems are for those people specifically. And so it's really important to be able to have that kind of emotional, I think emotional intelligence and interpersonal communication are very important, like linking those together, because you as yourself have to know how to communicate what you want them to understand, but also how to listen in order to make that bridge and not have like a divide between you as a scientist coming from outside and going in to solve their problems, because that's not what they want. They want to be able to build what they have in their community. So going in with an open mind, and then not going in to solve their problems, but to learn about what you can help them with.
Totally. Yeah. And Kat, I'm excited to talk more about your time in the Peru program and what that looks like, because we designed that program with the mayor of the town of Cusco. So yeah, definitely something that is like great to learn that skill. Oh, thanks for sharing that. Well, great. Here's the Green Program's mission. I think it's important to read mission statements so that when you go on the Green Program, like this is what we want you to feel. So we're seeking to educate and empower future sustainability leaders through innovative models of experiential education, travel, and adventure. So for the experiential education program I did in Thailand, Kat, for that other study abroad experience you did in France, yeah, the Green Program is a little bit different, and we'll try to talk about why it's innovative and how do we actually bring all of this together in 8 to 10 days. I swear we do it, we accomplish it, and we'll kind of tell you how to do that. So this is how it's done really with the program and what distinguishes us. So they're short term, and these are meant to be programs that you're able to do a study abroad experience, a job, internship, you're doing your classes, so you can complete these over breaks is the goal. You're also getting credit at the local institution there. And sometimes it will transfer, and we'll talk about that later. But at the end of the day, like you're getting international credit from international professors who are telling you about the local environment and what's going on there. So that's really exciting that we have those great partnerships. We also focus on the SDGs. It's just really important to us that our curriculum aligns with different SDGs. So each of the program is a little bit different in which one they address. And we also have capstone projects that are very career focused, and we'll talk about that later. Accessibility, yeah, just wanted to do this over breaks. We found that so many students who wanted to study abroad weren't able to do it in their master's programs as an undergrad, and they weren't able to afford a full semester abroad. So yeah, these programs are designed for anyone of any background, any interdisciplinary background can come on our programs. So if you are interested in Nepal and you want to design a microgrid system, like you don't have to have a background in electrical engineering to do that. And then long-term impact. Our goal is to connect you and provide resources long-term through our alumni network, and we'll talk about that later as well. Great. I'll talk about the first program before we hand off the mic to Kat. But yeah, so I want you to think about each of these programs as a case study. And I'm going to ask you at the end of the presentation which one you're most excited about, so pay attention. This one, super interesting because it's trying to think about sustainability reacting to a natural disaster, and one that was so big in Fukushima. So I don't know if people are familiar with what happened in 2011, but in Fukushima, there was a earthquake, tsunami, natural disaster caused the nuclear Daiichi facility to have a meltdown. It was awful. It was a really, really bad thing for Fukushima, not only because of the radiation and the tsunami and that destruction of the town, but also just of all of the nuclear waste that is left over there now and the political and cultural stigma that is now surrounding nuclear energy. So as you can imagine, Fukushima, not happy. Policymakers decided, all right, by 2040, we're going to be running on 100% renewable energy. Be excited if our next presidential candidate says the same thing, 2040, 100% renewable energy, it'd be awesome. But how does a country, a city, how does anyone actually make that happen? And that's what this program is all about, is how do we mitigate a disaster like this, and how do we transition to a renewable future, right? So the classes that you're taking there are going to be on nuclear power plant safety. How do you do mitigation? We're actually going to test drive a nuclear cleanup robot. And you can see that picture right there in the middle is where the students have actually gone and are standing underneath a nuclear core, which I don't know how many people can say they've done that on their bucket list. But the reason why it's important is you can actually look at, like, this is why the Daini facility, another one, did not melt down. And this is the stuff as engineers, as people that are designing programs for communities, need to be resilient, need to think about natural disasters, human disasters, everything that could happen. Like, it's so important. And so this one's really going to instill that in remind you and inspire you that, like, yes, like, my design is so important. And yeah, so after taking these classes, after going to some of these facilities, we'll talk to community leaders, find out how they're bringing people back to Fukushima and what that challenge has looked like, because it's now safe to be there with radiation. It's all good. And then, of course, we're going to eat a lot of Japanese food. We're going to visit Tokyo. Like, I've been there myself, and it just is an incredible place that is nothing like anywhere else I've ever been. So if you like Japanese culture, food, if you're curious about that transition and you want to be a proponent for bringing renewable energy to the United States, this one might be a really great one for you. But yeah, Kat, I want you to tell everyone about your time in Cusco and talk to us about some of, yeah, just your experience. I don't know, I'll give you the stage and go with it where you will.
Cool. So I went to Cusco, Peru. This class is called Water Resource Management and Sustainable Practices. And so really it's, they touch a lot on all the water management practices found in Peru and kind of the water issues that they have with the local river systems, but also with the natural river systems that they have. So canals and also the Amazon, and how they use both types of water for different types of cleaning and energy as well. And so this was really cool because I don't think people really understand the power of the Amazon River, right? So like how much energy is in that river, and going to the hydroelectric power plant and seeing how this powers, we went to two different ones. And so one of them got washed out and then they rebuilt it. So that one was really cool to see. And then the other one was kind of above ground. So um, that it was set up a little bit different, but they were both really cool and both very interesting to see all the turbines and all the things that the water moves. So it's just very interesting. Like there's always water flowing through there, and we were there during a low season, which was kind of interesting to see because it doesn't look like it's a low season. It's just like so much water. And so just seeing how much power and how much energy, like how big communities that this river powers throughout the whole country is insane. So that was really, really cool. And just, I don't know, like being able to see like all this machinery that you just flip a light switch in your house, and like that powers everything in your house with a light switch, like connecting those two things was really cool to see. And then in a place like Peru, which is really, really cool. What else? So there's a lot of archaeological sites in Peru. So it's a really old country. There's a lot of culture there, which is really fun to see. And they're, I think, some of the best engineers, I would say, like Egypt, and then like the Incas, also very good engineers. So you go to a lot of sites that teach you about growing food, but in like an archaeological sense. So they figured out how to grow food and multiple types of food, and also use their resources by engineering ways to transfer water over huge mountains, which is crazy. And these systems still work. And so we reverse engineer their systems to make our own systems, which is really cool. So we're cheating. We have systems already and we just use theirs now, which is fine, right? We're learning how to use that, but they didn't have everything we have now. So it's really, really impressive that they did all that without having calculators and computers. So that was really cool. And actually, like in the middle picture, this is one of the sites that you go to and do like a survey to measure the canal, and then you measure the flow. And it's so perfectly engineered that this canal never overflows, which is really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
And then the picture, actually, my background is one of another archaeological site that we went to that's called Tipon, and you can see like the steps. And these are actually the aqueducts where they used to farm different types of crops. So if you've ever seen like a rice paddy field, they kind of like grade down in steps because they dump water from the top and then it grades down to the bottom. That's similar to what they did in the mountains. They would grade water down through the entire aqueduct system. So that's really, really cool. And then of course, I think I didn't choose Peru as my initial program, but I ended up on Peru, and I'm glad I did because I love food and I love ceviche, and like this is their main dish. Like that's the Peruvian dish, right? That's what they're known for, ceviche, and I got really lucky because that's basically what I ate the entire time I was there. So that's cool. Like I eat vegan and vegetarian when I can, but there's something about like when I go to different countries, if I know it's locally sourced, I'm okay with eating it because I know it's sustainable. And so that was really cool for me to be able to go there and eat like their local fish and get it prepared by like the local people that grow the food there. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah, Kat, I'm really jealous about that too, because I have read and heard from friends too that like Peru is one of the top culinary destinations of the world. And so I did spend a lot of time in Thailand. So I definitely have like some great things to compare to. But yeah, I really want to go to Peru just to eat the food. That's so fun.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll go over like the trips that you do. So in
Yeah.
Peru specifically, like you can see the first top picture, that's whitewater rafting. So that was really cool. They take you whitewater rafting. It's not that scary. It was cool. Like our tour guides were cool, and they made sure that we didn't feel like scared or anything. But then we went like cliff diving. It wasn't high cliff diving, but they were relative. If you've never jumped off a rock before, it was intimidating, but it was really fun because you jump right into the river. And then we went zip lining. I'm not sure if it was one of the longest zip lines in Peru. I think it is, right? It is one of the
Yeah,
larger
and I
ziplines
think
in
in
the world.
Central and South America, yeah.
It's really cool. That one's cool. And then I don't think anywhere else, but they make you go upside down on their zip line. And so like if you saw the Instagram post, that's the video of me upside down, like flying across the zip line. So that was really fun. And then they take you. We didn't go to Rainbow Mountain, but we went to Machu Picchu, which is also really cool. And then we
Yeah.
got to see, if you see the ladies down here on the bottom picture, we went to a local shop where they make all like their clothes, and they give you a lesson on the types of plants they use to make dyes for their fabrics. So Peruvian fabrics are very, very, they're sold all over the world, and they're really, really pretty. And so it was cool to be able to see them, like what dyes they use. They use like bugs and different plants to make different colored dyes, and then they show you there, and then you can buy stuff from them, which is really cool.
Oh, Kat, thanks for sharing all of that. That's
Yeah.
so exciting. No, I love hearing about like the adventure, the
Yeah, I
culture,
want
the
to go back.
academic side.
I need to
Yeah,
go back
okay,
for Rainbow Mountain and eat more potatoes. Potatoes
great.
is also very important to eat there.
Yeah, so we'll just take everyone right now, we'll make a pact. Kat will lead us to Peru and we'll travel with her in the future.
That's okay. I'm
Um,
friends with our tour guide. We can do it.
Perfect. But yeah, I would say, obviously I already spoke about Japan and I'll cover the other programs, but behind the information I'm giving you is an alumni that we're happy to connect you with, like Kat, who will tell you all of these other stories that I'm totally missing. So Kat, thanks for going into detail and just sharing your experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, great. I'll run through the other programs too. So in Nepal, this is another program. I mentioned it briefly before. This is a newer program and it's really exciting. It's for anyone who wants to know about rural development around the world. And so in the Peru program, you're studying in the School of Development Studies, the graduate school there at Kathmandu University. And I haven't really mentioned the professors yet, but they're incredible. One of the professors who teaches this course actually wrote Nepal's energy policy. So really exciting to pick the minds of a lot of these professors that care about your growth and development. So anyways, you'll start there in Kathmandu and you'll learn about the entire process of designing and working with stakeholder engagement to create a microgrid off-grid system. And then you'll actually do a homestay. Well, you'll stay with a family in a Nepalese village and you'll be able to actually install that system, which you see behind everyone in Sabrina in that middle photo of like the actual system there. And in this town, we were lucky enough to provide access to water for the entire village, pumping it all the way up, which was really gratifying if that's something you're interested in. Yeah, Nepal has great culture, food. I really love local homestays. I think that it's one of the most incredible ways and humbling ways to travel, of just being in the place of another person's house. And yeah, so if you're interested in this program, I can always connect you to an alumni. And yeah, feel free to ask more questions in the chat and we'll grab them at the end. Last program I want to highlight is the Iceland one. This is on renewable energy innovation and sustainability. So we spoke about Japan wanting to move towards 100% renewable energy. What I should have just said is Japan moving towards Iceland. Iceland is already there. Like Iceland is at 98, 99% renewable energy. And they actually have incredible successes with technology, policy, and culture that we're going to really unpack. Like, how did Iceland get here and what challenges are they actually facing? So in this program, you're doing it at Reykjavik University, the #1 school in Iceland. And you're going to actually be, what we try to do is take you on a typical day that supports those things you study in the classroom and apply them the same day. So for instance, if you study geothermal energy with this professor, we call them like the queen of geothermal. They just like are world renowned. So study geothermal energy with them. And then you'll go to the largest geothermal facility in Iceland, which is carbon net negative. You'll learn about the technology, meet with those professors and those industry professionals. And then we'll take you to a residential town that you'll have lunch there and it's running on all geothermal energy. And then at the end of the day, we'll do that adventure and culture and go to the hot springs that are all, geothermal energy in nature. So try to get to that full cycle of nature from the classroom history, nature, industry, residential, try to cover it all. And we rinse and repeat with hydroelectric and biofuels and whatnot. So yeah, the Iceland program is probably one of the most popular, also just because of yeah, the beautiful sights and the camping and hiking on a glacier that we do. And with all of our adventure activities, like Kat had talked about the whitewater rafting, like we want you to, one, have fun and travel, and but two, like really infuse those adventure activities with your learning. So you're tripping over the truth when you're seeing the effects of climate change on a glacier. You're seeing like how is water super available in this river and it's not available in certain ways for agriculture in towns in Peru. So that's how we're connecting it all.
I think for the geologists, this is their favorite because it's like one of the most crazy like places for geologists to go. I know I did because I went by myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool, Kat. Yeah. So I know there's some geology students here. Like, definitely your mind is going to be blown. But Kat, yeah, I wanted us to talk about the Capstone Project a little bit. And, you know, what the Capstone Project is it's an opportunity for you to get in a group with an interdisciplinary group of students. And you're going to come together with all of your different passions, interests, skills, and you're going to put them to work. We're going to give you a challenge and say, here, pick a sustainability issue in the world. Use the things you're learning in the classroom, use each other's knowledge, do some research, and come up with a business entrepreneurial solution. So a little bit of practicality, a little bit of dreaming, and bring it all together to have this from scratch idea that we want you to change the world. And yeah, you're practicing a lot of skills that are here on the slide. But Kat, tell us about your experience, your capstone project. What was it like for you?
Sure. So this is actual group work that I like doing. And a lot of people don't like group work in college anymore, but this is cool because you work with people that are actually going to help you on the project. So I got grouped with Kevin and Camille, and Camille was also a grad student, and Kevin's like, he's been an ambassador. He does a lot for the green program. He's awesome. So it was like a powerhouse group, I think, that I got stuck with, which is really cool. And so we really identified with like the pollution in the river. And so the name of our project was the restoration of Rio Watanay, which is like the dirtiest, most polluted river. I don't know if it's just Peru or if it's like all of South America, but it's if you go on the trip, you'll understand why. You can YouTube videos and you can see why. And so we took all our different backgrounds and we made up a project where we would use a type of, we would map out along the river specific sites based on specific criteria, and also find a cheap way to test these sites based on the type of pollution and extraction method we were going to do for that group. So it was really fun. Like we presented at the end, and it was just really cool to work with them and see like from different perspectives, because we were all from different backgrounds. We were all in different points in our degrees. I think Kevin had just graduated and he was moving into a business school, and Camille was in the middle of her PhD, and she's also a screenplay writer, which was cool. So yeah, it was really cool to work with them. And then it's all revolved around the Sustainable Development Goals, which is also really cool to see, because I don't think in a lot of science, especially I think in geology, that's not something that's talked about, is the Sustainable Development Goals. And just even developing like your projects for a master's or a PhD, I think considering this gives you a whole nother level of impact. So if impact is something you're looking at, try incorporating the Sustainable Development Goals in any type of work that you do, because that's on a global level, not just at the local level. And then I know a lot of other people, we didn't, but a lot of other alumni have taken their capstone and made it into something like a nonprofit. So if that's something that you're interested in doing and you want to build a project like that, then you can stay connected with those people that you meet on the green program and then potentially start a nonprofit, which is really cool.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of our alumni, Kat, who is making they're making candles out of all renewable sources and environmentally friendly, less waste sort of products. And yeah, they're connecting with the network, seeing who of the 3,200 people that have traveled on the green program wants to sort of like come alongside and help them with it. So yeah, it's definitely exciting. And you mentioned the powerhouses. Kat, you're also a powerhouse. Everyone on this call already knows it. So I would say that Camille and Kevin were both lucky to work with you. But yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that about your capstone project. And we talked a little bit about adventure and culture, and I just wanted to highlight it again. Getting pushed out of your comfort zone is a really important thing. I think right now we're probably all feeling maybe either too much in our comfort zone or out of our comfort zone because we're not able to do the things that we normally are used to. And it really does foster personal growth. And so with all the adventure activities, the whitewater rafting, cliff jumping that you were doing, Kat, like those are all things to push you a little bit off of your center so that you're able to sort of adapt and become more tolerant for uncertainty, adversity, to actually grow in some of these skills. So yeah, it's really important to us that education is kind of goes alongside with culture and adventure, that you are learning from people from different backgrounds of different cultures locally, and you're applying that to really challenge your worldview so that you can grow in all of that as well. But yeah, for you, Kat, do you feel like with the green program, were you put outside your comfort zone? I know you had been to France before, so you had been to another culture or another country, let's say. I know there are many cultures and communities, even within the US, but yeah, what was that like for you? Did you have your comfort zone expanded on the green program?
So I had never really done like a service project with like a community in a different country. I do some here, but never really like in the community. So I think, I don't know, just like the emotion that you get by helping community, I think kind of opens your box a little bit more. And I think that happened to me. So I don't know if you guys, if I put this up, no, you can't see it. It's like a picture of two little girls. I don't know if I put it close enough. But so those two little girls, we were fixing, we went to this site and they had their water well was like not encaged properly. So the animals were getting in there and polluting their water source. And so they were just like, all right, get off. We're going to help. I forgot the name of the nonprofit we were with, but they're also there in Peru. We're working on water. And they're like, all right, you guys are going to go log up like 50-pound poles together to make a fence around their water well. And I was like, cool, like I'm down, like let's do this. And so I think for a lot of people, like I think that's what helps them break out of their shell a little bit more and grow as a person, is by getting your hands dirty. And I think doing that for a lot of people, and even for me, like just knowing that I put a post up that's protecting their water and it's still probably there, hopefully, that it made an impact, right? And even if it was small, and like me meeting those two little girls and getting to talk to them, and like them seeing us there helping them make sure that they have clean water. Yeah, 33 Buckets was a nonprofit. We were there helping them. And so it was just really cool to see that. And I think that helped me grow a lot leaving there, was being able to help that community.
Yeah, Kat, I appreciate that. And I know a lot of times when I'm thinking about visiting communities or traveling, I don't really know what my impact is going to be. I don't know if I'm like purchasing or spending my money in mindful ways. I want to do research, but I know that that's kind of exhausting sometimes. So on the green program, because we have partners that we've developed the programs with the mayor, and we're partnering with local nonprofits, and the people who are leading these programs and trips are local to that area, they're able to actually help us know that like, hey, this is something that is really impacting us, you know, partially financially, but also like through your presence and coming to this town and saying like, hey, we value you. We're here to study and learn from you. And there's just something very empowering about saying like, I want to learn about your knowledge and what you're teaching and what your community is doing. So I'm excited and glad that you had that experience. So when speaking about traveling, I think it's important to talk about COVID and what's going on. So through the WHO, CDC, and DOS, like we're constantly just monitoring and checking all the different locations, as well as with our local guides. But the two things that I wanted to mention in terms of how does this impact the green program for you today as you're considering applying, those applications are non-binding. So let's say you apply for a spring program, and then you just want to transfer to the summer or even next winter. Like there's no problem with that. And the benefit of applying is you're able to learn about all the free resources and other things we offer through the green program. So I would recommend you definitely just apply. And I'm just excited to meet all of you too. So it's really fun for me to read those applications. What happens if your program gets postponed? So this happened to us over the summer. The programs were postponed, and you kind of have 3 or 4 options. First option is you can participate in a Learn Now, Travel Later course where you're taking the classes online and traveling later when it's safe. You actually end up taking a few more classes, and you end up going and spending more time in these areas. So this program is good for someone who's like, I need and want to learn about sustainability and renewable energy today. Like, I just can't wait. I'm applying for internships, jobs, grad school. I really am like developing my thesis and other projects. I just need to know more. This is kind of the type of program for you. You can also just transfer to a future program. I know Kat had said that originally they had signed up for a program and that one had gotten postponed. And so, we pivoted and found another program that fit Kat's interests. And either you just go to a future program or another one that is safe to travel to. Obviously, getting a refund is there, but we try to work with you through every other option first. One of the ones that we have more recently developed are these online programs that are 100% online. You can just learn things and never travel, which to me, I'm like, oh, I love travel, but I also know like there's something so valuable about learning from professors in another country and like seeing and hearing about that case study. And in the times that we're living in, we have to be flexible and tolerant for adversity and uncertainty. So this is one thing that we've been really proud of how we've developed it. So I'll talk about those two options real fast. Learn now, travel later. I had mentioned like you're going to take all of your classes online. You don't have to have FOMO. I have FOMO right now about traveling, and you're able to stay on track is with like your personal and professional interests, and you'll be ready to go by the time like the summer comes around for competitive internships and whatnot. This is obviously a super safe and effective way to travel, and I'm happy to talk to you more and connect you with people that are already doing this. We're really proud that Go Overseas recognized that this was a top virtual study abroad program. As a lot of people just kind of canceled programs that did nothing. We're just excited that we adapted and did that. For the online course, we're running one actually on Monday. So excited. It's going to be the Ethics of Sustainable Development. And basically, this is sort of giving you an opportunity to do a lot of great readings, dive into the ethics a lot more. When I think about ethics of sustainable development, what does that mean? Like, what does sustainable development mean? If someone says, I'm doing sustainable development, your usual like feeling is like, okay, great, that's good. That's good, right? That impact is good for the community, right? And it's like, well, there's so much ethics and morality and things around it. And what does that word even mean? It's kind of reminds me of like organic. Like, what does organic started as? Where does it mean now? So we're unpacking what this actually looks like and using Nepal as a case study with the professor there. And they're doing the entire course online. You'll do a capstone project at the very end. And so, yeah, this might be an option for you. And Kat, I think we're actually developing another one. This is a sneak peek with Professor Oscar as well down in Peru. So I'll definitely let you know about it, and you can share that with other people. What was Professor Oscar like for you?
He's awesome. I messaged him a few months ago. He's great. Like, he's a great connection still, like reaching out to him, seeing how he's doing. He's a great professor. I would have loved to have him as an undergrad.
Yeah, right. Cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And a lot of students come back and say the same thing about professors, but I'll say like Oscar really cares about the students and goes everywhere with you, right? Great.
He's a dad, but he's
ahead.
also a dad for class.
I love that comparison. Yeah, he really does. Like, I just hear him being like, he just challenges students, asks them tons of questions, and I just really appreciate him as a human. Here's our impact. These are some awards we've won. These are the ways that students have given us reviews. Like, go online, talk to alumni, talk to Kat. I swear that like you're going to be like, there's no way you can do this in 8 to 10 days and for it to be impactful, but we have a large impact. I mean, these quotes here are fun, but you might just be wondering like, well, what's the long-term impact? What does it actually do after the program? Anyone can feel excited about those 8 to 10 days, but we really do think beyond that as well. And that's sort of what a lot of alumni will talk about. And so here are some statistics to sort of back it up. So for 95% of the Green Program students, they'll experience a sustainability related shift. So what does that mean? It means maybe you have increased awareness about sustainability around the world. In your own personal life, you're like, this is what I really want to do. I'm not only just like passionate about sustainability, but I have experiences that are now like solidifying that. And this is sort of where people feel the impact personally when they're investing in organizations locally that are doing sustainability. And also some people actually shift their entire career focus to be more addressed towards a different sustainability issue. Kat, did you experience any level of sustainability related shift? What was that sort of like for you?
So yeah, for me, it solidified kind of what research I was going to do. So initially, I knew I wanted to work with the community, but I didn't know what specifically. And so the program I was going to do was more focused on food. So it's like the food water nexus, but this one was just water sustainability, and that's exactly what I'm doing for my PhD project now. And it's having that communication, so knowing how to connect the scientific models that we're developing and then connecting that to the community so it's actually impactful. So it did exactly that for me.
Cool. I like that. Thanks, Kat. Here's two other statistics that are just fun is people feel like the green program has refined their purpose professionally or personally, academically. So if you're someone who also like Kat, went into grad school and was like, all right, I think I know what I want to do. I'm trying to figure it out. The green program is also another thing that will like continue to help you refine what your interests are. And 4 out of 5 alumni actually say that the green program helps them when applying for jobs and also in an interview. So again, I keep saying this, like, I love it that you're passionate about sustainability. Now, like, show me how, like, show me why, show me examples of how you have demonstrated this. And I just think that having an experience where you can say, this is a capstone project that I created with a new group and I did it from scratch. And like, this is like, yeah, I do care. I came up with an entirely new business model. Like, come on. I just think there's something really fun about that. And I think it's really important. Awesome. This is where some of our alumni are working. You get access to the alumni network, and so you're able to continue to work and network with people that are working at Nike and Tesla and NASA, Nike sustainability. And the list really does go on. If you look at a company like that is doing really great sustainability work, might probably have had like a alumni work there is kind of a joke we have. So the alumni take care of each other. You both have gone on a green program and you're able to connect with people like Kat, the 3,200 cats out there, who will tell you more about like their impact and where they're sort of going. So if you're excited about sustainability and getting connected, this is just a really valuable resource for you. When I came back from my program, I still kept in touch with some of my friends, but apart from that, I just really wanted to connect with everyone else that went on the program and unfortunately did not have that available. So I really appreciate the green program for designing this. We talked about the cohort. Again, I know there are a lot of people who are graduate, undergraduate students. We've had people come from over 400 different universities, 70 different countries. Every major is welcome. We have a lot of STEM. There's graphic designers. There's people who are English majors who want to do environmental journalism. Recent grads and young professionals come on our courses. We have ambassadors like Kat who talk about the program and advocates as well that help the green program spread the news about what we're doing. And yeah, that alumni network I mentioned as well. Cool. So TGP at UTEP and maybe your school, if you're tuning in from another school in Texas. We've had people from UTEP since 2012, which is really exciting. And yeah, basically, if you're thinking about funding, if you're thinking about credit, generally, I'll just talk real fast about school and then Kat, you can touch on UTEP. But for generally, if you're seeking funding, there's a lot of different resources for you. And my job is working with you to access those resources. So if you apply, I can help you on that road and hopefully like make this happen. And then also if you're seeking credit, then we can forward you the syllabus and you can send that to your academic advisor and see how the credit might transfer. But Kat, I know that we were talking about it the other day. How did funding work for you at UTEP?
So my advisor, she sent me the green program, so that's how I got connected with them. But she offered to pay for my flight. And so if you're working with an advisor, and even like in our department for geology and environmental science, you can ask them because it can be counted as a class, but it's also like an academic, it's academic. So they have funding for students to do stuff like that. So it's like a conference. And so if you get funded through the university, you also qualify to apply for a study abroad scholarship, which is an extra $300. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to get help at school, or you can do what I did, which is I fundraised and I made 3,000 tamales to be able to pay for my my fee for the green program. So if you want to like talk over ideas, I'm more than happy to do that with you also.
Oh, I love that, Kat. Yeah, we've had some alumni do some really amazing things to find the funding, and I'm excited that the tamales worked out for you. I now am like excited and would love to try one day.
Yeah, I have back orders every year, so you're more than welcome to be added to that.
Okay, add me to your 2022 back order. Great. So here's just a slide of the programs we're enrolling for, some of those online courses that'll be changing and shifting, but these are the different programs that you can apply to. And I just wanted to end on a quote before we talk about questions. Yeah, hey, everyone who's here, you care about sustainability and you're trying to figure out your place in the world. Remember, like, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. I think Margaret Mead has a really important like message there. And especially in times where you might feel like your impact is small right now, I just want to remind you that like together, like we can actually make a really big change. So thanks everyone. We're going to jump into some questions for the remaining 10 minutes. Excited for you all to just sort of chat and hang out. And obviously you can always talk to Kat or myself. I'll put my email into the chat and you can always message. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see. Let me check if there are any questions in the chat here. And feel free to also unmute yourself if you have a question as well. Happy to just sort of like engage that way. So as I look for questions in the chat, if you're on the call and you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask Kat and I.
I have a question about the requirements and like the selection process.
Awesome.
What are the
just generally, what are they? Cool. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So in our application, we were all students once, and we are frustrated that you apply to something and you don't hear back for months. So at the Green program, what we try to do is everyone who applies, we try to get your application reviewed in 48 hours. So you're not just waiting weeks and weeks and months to hear back. When you look at the application, there's a couple of demographic questions, but there are 4 questions that are completing the entire application. And basically what we're trying to understand is, do you care about sustainability? Is this something that is part of your vision for the future? If you come on this program, like, are you going to add something? Like, are you going to add your energy, excitement, passion? And do you have this curious nature? So when you're applying, definitely try to show examples of where you have distributed that. Or if you're just trying to gain that, then yeah, definitely come at the application with that. With prereqs for classes and backgrounds, I mentioned this before, like an English major can come on any of our programs. So you don't need to have any courses, but everyone who attends the Green program has to be at least 18 years old, and the average age is between 20 and 25. That was a good question. Thanks for asking that.
Thank you. And I have a question for Kat.
Yeah.
What's up?
Just I'm graduating with my geology bachelor's, and I know you said you transferred to like environmental. I don't know. I didn't even think that was possible.
Yeah,
I thought I had to stay like in geology, like
yeah, so go ahead.
geophysics, geochem, all that.
Yeah. No, like, so what happened was I had done like some research with professors, right? And they were all like hardcore geochem. And I was like, it's cool. Like, I like to do research and go with them, but I don't want to like do that, right? Like, I don't want to do extraction of resources. And it was funny because I got that free up. You have to pay for almost every application for grad school, even UTEP. And I got a free one for private school. And I sent it to one of the guys. Well, he was a PI on the project. And he's like, it's a scam because it was environmental management and sustainability. So that's all he told me. I was like, whatever, I'm just going to apply. And so I did. They accepted my application. And that's all it took, right? You don't have to stay on a field. And so it's also like, think about it, like the more tools you have in your toolbox, the more attractive you are going to be when you want a job. So like I have geology, now I have project management and sustainability. And now that I came back for the PhD, I have more environmental science, and engineering is on my degree.
Yeah.
I didn't do engineering, but it's in the degree. And so it makes you a more holistic scientist, I think, if you kind of branch out, if you know you don't want to go into a specific job field already. So I wouldn't be scared of kind of jumping from one to the other, because everything is related, right? On the earth, all resources, everything's related. So you can always connect and find a job where it touches kind of on everything that you're doing.
Okay, thank you. And I'm actually also interested in environmental engineering.
Yeah, we might have someone here, but yeah, that's really cool too. That's a new one. That's a new booming degree.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad that you both are able to connect about that more. And yeah, I guess I'm curious, continue to put some questions in the chat, but if not, yeah, for everyone that is looking at the different programs, was there any of them that stuck out to you? Which one would you think about applying for if you had to choose just one? Okay, Iceland, sure. What else for other people who are on the chat? Okay, Iceland. That's exciting. I'm glad that you all care about that. Nepal, cool.
I want to go to Nepal. Our architecture at UTEP is actually from Bhutan, so that'd be kind of cool to go to Nepal.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'll put everyone who selected Iceland and Japan, I guess now too. If anyone wants to unmute yourself, why is it that Iceland and Japan? Like, why did those programs stick out to you? What about it are you excited about learning more?
I like Iceland because I watch a lot of documentaries and it's always something they talk about how Iceland is doing, and like what Kat mentioned, that it's cool. I know in Iceland they use the river and like the energy that the river produces to power some stuff. So I think that's very interesting too.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I am now going to start looking at some documentaries. You've just helped figure out what I want to watch next.
You can also watch Eurovision. That happens in Iceland.
Oh, I have seen it. It's exciting. I love it. Valeria, I see you also wrote Japan. Can you tell me a little bit more about what about the Japan program sticks out to you? Why are you interested in it?
I'm pretty interested because you mentioned that there was like an earthquake and that caused the nuclear disaster. So I'm actually learning seismology, and it kind of connects to that, and also chemistry in a way. So I think it's pretty interesting to help out if I could ever.
Yeah, no, even just remember when you go to any of these locations, part of the process is you learning about what are they doing in Japan. And what about that would apply to a future place that you're living, right? Like with policy, culture, what are those barriers that would make it more difficult or even easier, right? So I really like that that's something you're excited about. Um, Lindsay, I saw you also wrote down Iceland. Why are you interested in the Iceland program?
She put in the chat. I think she can't talk over the mic.
Oh yeah, she was at work, I think. Cool. Iceland for you because you found they use so much of their resources for good versus wasting them. Also, their focus is on outdoors more, and it's the perfect place to learn. No, that's okay. Sorry, I put you on the spot. Shouldn't have. Iceland's really interesting too, Lindsay. Like their resources are definitely used for good, and also there's some challenges that they're facing now that they have all of this renewable energy, right? So part of it is when is enough? Like, can we keep creating more renewable energy? What happens when we have excess, which is what actually Iceland has, is excess renewable energy. And with technology these days, how do you store it, transport it? What options are open to you? If you're going to use it to create some of these different resources, like aluminum is really great that they're like, Iceland's able to make that product. But in doing so, you end up actually using that as well for waste. Yeah, waste, like you had said there, that actually goes into the environment. So it's odd because what are the ethics behind that? You've got this renewable energy, that's super ethical and that's awesome. And you're using it for something that is creating waste. And so thinking about your impact, and that's why I really like with the Iceland program, though, the geothermal facility is actually carbon net negative. Sure, there will definitely be some waste involved, but the fact that they are actually sequestering more carbon than it takes for them to exist, and they're trying to improve that tech is also really cool. Great. Yeah, I think the last person who was also Ty, I see you're joining us as well. And I think also, Joseph, you had mentioned Iceland. I don't know if you are able to answer if you're at work, but if you are able to, yeah, I'd like to hear why you're excited about the Iceland program.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me because like I was just looking at your guys' website right now, and like how it says like it provides like 100% of its electricity and like all that energy, 70% of its energy consumption. Like I found that so interesting because like I never thought like Iceland, you know, when I hear Iceland, I don't think about that. So it's like really interesting to me that, you know, not just Iceland, but there's probably other countries out there with, you know, new ways of sustainability. That's why I found it really interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I would say too that you and a lot of other students that don't know that when they go to Iceland and they learn about the tech and they learn about the culture, they learn about the policy, they come back and they're like, all right, why aren't we doing this in the US? Like, where's this disconnect? How do we bridge this gap? And how did they form and create this incredible place? But yeah, hey, everyone who joined, and I'm recording this, so for everyone who is also watching this, we're just, again, so excited that you care about sustainability, that this is part of your journey and you're trying to explore more about it. So I just want to commend you all for coming to this, and just like, this is a step towards you like becoming a greater sustainability leader. I know some of you already are, but I'd like to see all of you continue to grow, and I hope the green program is part of that. But yeah, feel free to reach out to Kat and I. I'll send you a recording of this video, and just really excited and thankful that you all came here. Ty, I know you came on at the end. I'll send you the recording, and would love to connect with you as well. But thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Kat, for taking the time to sharing your experience. This has been such a pleasure.
Hope everybody gets to go to at least one place.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Kat, and everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
I have a question for Kat.
Oh, go ahead, Valeria.
It's me.
Oh, it's not me. Yeah, I saw you. I see you now.
But I know you couldn't go to our geology club meeting this last month. I don't know if you want to go to the one we're having
for October. Yeah, I'm down to. That's fine. Just send me the invite.
We usually have it at 11.
Okay, I should be fine. It's on Monday. When was it? Thursdays?
Do I have to be a UTEP student? Can I jump in too?
Yes.
I'll give you the link.
Okay, awesome. All right. Sorry, I'm gonna end the meeting, but yeah, take it offline.
Just email me.
Yes. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
See you.